My eldest child started secondary school this year. Preparing for secondary school and her future, a new chapter. Imagine on the one hand, 13-year-olds preparing for secondary school in the future who have had no formal experience or training in public speaking. Imagine on the other hand, 13-year-olds who have been encouraged, enabled, and empowered to stand and present in front of their peers a minimum of 10 times a year throughout their primary school education. What stands between these two groups? It's a structured, oral language communication and presentation program such as the one that I've designed. It's called Let's Stand. It must be the night for acronyms, because LETS is an acronym. Listen, evaluate, talk, stand. Fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests. Have you ever responded to a topic at a Toastmaster meeting and thought that topic would make a great speech? Or have you ever written a speech and thought that speech is something more? Well, I had this exact experience last year when I took part in the district final of the International Speech Contest. Following the division final of the contest, a fellow Toastmaster came to me and in true Toastmaster evaluator style, he said, "Siobhan, I liked your speech, but you know what? I think that speech is actually a program." Well, I listen to evaluators. Last year my speech was entitled Stand. This year, the structured oral language communication and presentation program for primary school children that I have designed is called Let's Stand. You see, I believe the purpose of education in our primary schools should quite simply be to train our children to stand and deliver. Standing begins in action, to stand up, to stand out, and when they get knocked back in life, to choose to stand again. W.B. Yeats defines education as not so much the filling of a pail as the lighting of a fire. Picture it. If somebody successfully lit a fire under you, instinctively, what would you do? I know I'd stand. My youngest son, Philip, started school 2 years ago, and in true impeccable, impulsive, impatient, 4-year-old style, he wanted to master everything immediately, or as soon as possible. Yesterday, if not sooner. So you can imagine his disappointment, frustration, and confusion when he quickly realized he couldn't read or write. He couldn't play football like the big kids. And then the teacher told him to stop talking. Stop talking. The one thing that he knew he could do, and he was being told to stop talking. Now, of course, we adults know why. In the interest of discipline and social cohesion and order, a 4-year-old might be told to stop talking. But what if the message received is different to the message intended? Philip will retire, if he's lucky, in 2074. If there's one thing that the last 25 years in education has taught me, is that I haven't a clue what the world will be like in 3 years' time. As a parent and a teacher, how can I prepare Philip and his friends for a world I don't know? A world in which they will most likely have jobs that have not yet been invented. I believe strongly that the very best I can do is to train them to stand and deliver. Do any of you remember in primary school being told to stop talking? Well, what if instead of telling children to stop talking, we said, talk and keep talking, and we'll give you the skills, the structure, and the safe, supportive environment in which to plan, prepare, and practice talking. Talk with intention. Talk to inform. Talk to investigate. Talk to learn. So combining my Toastmaster experience with my teaching experience and my school leadership experience, I came to realize that there's a great and urgent need for a structured oral language communication and presentation program for primary school children. Why? Why the urgency? Why is it more important today, more than ever before, to train our children to stand? Well, quite simply, there is an unprecedented abundance of forces out there now, lurking, luring our loved ones into more passive, sedentary activities. Excessive use of technology, excessive use of television, unhealthy treats, unregulated social media, personal listening devices, DVDs in cars, and many more. Intentional or not, oral conversation and language development are being discouraged by these and more. With the Let's Stand programme, every child from junior infants, which would be 4 or 5 years old, will be enabled to stand and present in front of their peers a minimum of 10 times a year. There's student booklets and there's teacher manuals. Imagine then, when these 4-year-olds are 13, preparing for secondary school and their futures, they will have presented in front of an audience a minimum of 80 times. Wow! What might that look like in terms of courage, confidence, and communicative competence? I don't know about you, but I believe that these are the 13-year-olds our world needs. And not only that, but these are the skills vital for our 13-year-olds to survive and thrive in an ever-changing world. Because no matter how good our 13-year-olds are at texting, emailing, using different technologies, there will always be a need for face-to-face communication, for relationships, for day-to-day encounters, for oral exams in secondary school, for interviews, for workplace presentations. Technology may well be able to connect people's minds, but it cannot yet do what only human communication can. It cannot yet connect people's hearts. In a world where technology provides us with instant answers, instant results, instant gratification, engagement in a structured oral language communication and presentation program in a fun way would once again allow our children to go through the process of discovery. Albert Einstein feared that our technology